It's one of the most horrifying crimes, and yet the perpetrators rarely get punished. Just 3% of rapists in the country serve time in prison for their crime. Think about that. Sometimes it's because police are ignoring their most powerful pieces of evidence. CBS News first reported 5 years ago that 20,000 untested rape kits were gathering dust in state crime labs and police evidence rooms, going untested. Well, that story and others like it convinced some police departments to begin testing their rape kits, and there have been some astonishing results. Nancy Cordes is on the stories in Washington. Nancy, good morning.
Good morning. Rape kits are administered to victims right after their attack to collect the perpetrator's DNA. And yet, many women still go through this invasive 5-hour procedure for nothing because so many police departments don't test all their kits. Some tell us it's too expensive. Others say it takes too much time. But the result is that rapists can go undetected and attack again.
And I looked up, next thing I know, I have a gun pointing at me.
This Cleveland woman was standing at a gas station when she was forced into an alley and raped in 1994. But it took 20 years to identify her attacker, Charles Steele, because police never bothered to test her DNA rape kit. In fact, 4,000 untested kits were gathering dust at the Cleveland Police Department until Mike DeWine took over as state attorney general 3 years ago and decided to test them all.
You know, I thought that these old rape kits would have good evidentiary value, but I had no idea how valuable they are.
Suddenly, known criminals with DNA on file were being tied to attacks on as many as 7 different women. Cuyahoga County prosecutor Tim McGinty has already issued 200 indictments. A third of the suspects are accused of being serial rapists.
They don't stop raping until they're dead or they're physically unable to get out of bed and go attack somebody. So the sooner you empty your shelves of the rape kits, the sooner you can take the serial offenders and serial rapists off the street.
Already, Cleveland's violent crime rate is dropping.
These guys are one-man crime waves, so they rob and rape. They sell drugs and they shoot people.
And yet, many cities still aren't testing their old rape kits.
Well, that's unbelievable to me. It's negligence.
The Joyful Heart Foundation, which works to end the rape kit backlog, says Las Vegas has tested just 16% of its 5,000 kits. Tulsa, Oklahoma is seeking funding to test 3,400 kits. And Wisconsin has 6,000 statewide and is prioritizing which kits to test first.
This is not just any one city or state's problem. This is a national problem and needs a national solution.
How many women would you say you've reached out to so far?
I'd say in the last year it's roughly 30.
In Cleveland, it's investigator Nicole DeSanto's job to track down women who were raped decades ago so they can testify against their newly identified attackers.
I've had victims who said they didn't feel very worthy or they felt worthless back then because no one took them seriously.
Charles Steele has been tied to 3 other rapes in Cleveland and 2 in Cincinnati. He's now in prison for life.
How has your life changed now that you know who your attacker was and you know that he is behind bars, can't do this to anyone else?
I feel blessed. No more wondering. Now I know.
And yet, because the testing takes time, even Cleveland won't be able to fully clear out its rape kit backlog until 2018.
Does it make you sick to think all of these people could have been put away 15 years ago?
When we look back and we see in hindsight, had we prosecuted these individuals earlier, that those victims are unnecessary victims.
And the irony is that once these kits are tested, Cleveland police can identify the perpetrators instantly because they've usually committed some kind of crime somewhere else, so their DNA is in the national database. So far, Charlie, their success rate in prosecuting these criminals is an astounding 87%.
Wow.
Wow.
Great.
Thank you, Nancy.
Great reporting.